Hi everyone, it's Wednesday Warriors and it's me, Arielle. And this week I'm going to be talking about victimization. We think of bullying as a form of being victimized. And bullying doesn't just mean kids in school picking on other kids. Bullying can happen within families, it can happen with adults, it can happen in the workplace, and it can happen online. And of course, it can certainly happen within schools. And there are so many different forms of victimization, and none of them are good, and none of them are okay. Abuse is never okay, and abuse is never your fault. There is no good reason for hurting another person, whether that hurt is emotional or physical. When you're a victim of something, you can find it very difficult to move forward with life, to think positive, to do well in recovery, to take care of yourself. And it can be very hard not to internalize the things that people are saying. And it can be very hard not to internalize the way that people are treating you if the way that they're treating you is negative. I have a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy for people who are struggling with being bullied, whether it's as children or as adults. And furthermore, I did some work in a domestic violence shelter counseling women who had survived abuse. And I don't like to think of people who have suffered abuse as victims, but nevertheless, they have been victimized. And it's not okay to be victimized. It doesn't feel good. It's hurtful. It's hard sometimes to make it stop. And it can really affect all aspects of your life, especially if you're struggling with an eating disorder to boot. I've talked about abuse in another one of my videos. I did a video about healthy relationships and boundaries. And in that video, I talked about what makes a relationship healthy, what makes a relationship unhealthy, and some red flags to look for. But I didn't go in depth about actual abusive situations. What I would tell someone who has been victimized or is being victimized is, this is not your fault. You don't deserve this, and there is help available. Even when things seem that they can't possibly get any worse, there is someone who can help. You're not alone in this. It feels extremely lonely, and it can feel extremely scary. But there are other people who are dealing with the same thing or who have dealt with the same thing. And there are plenty of people who want to help you if you'll let them in. It's very hard. It's very scary. But you can't be afraid to speak up. You're so important and your life is so important. You're worth speaking up for. The National Domestic Violence Hotline characterizes abuse as someone telling you that you can never do anything right, showing jealousy of your friends or time spent away, keeping you or discouraging you from seeing friends or family members, embarrassing you, shaming you, using put-downs, controlling money, taking your money or refusing to give you money for expenses, looking at you or acting in ways that scare you, controlling who you see, where you go, what you do, preventing you from making your own decisions, telling you that you're a bad person, a bad parent, or threatening to take away your children, preventing you from working or attending school, destroying your property or threatening to hurt you or hurt your pets, intimidating you with weapons like guns, knives, or other things that could be used to do bodily harm, pressuring you to have sex, pressuring you to do things that are sexual when you don't want to do them, pressuring you to drink or use drugs. Those are just some examples. And those examples are really, I would say, more for adults in abusive relationships. Some kind of a romantic relationship, most likely. StopBullying.gov defines bullying as unwanted aggressive behavior among children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is usually repeated, has the potential to be repeated, and can include making threats, spreading rumors, attacking someone physically, verbally, or shunning or excluding someone from a group on purpose. Now, it does say children in that definition, but bullying can happen anywhere, any place, anytime, no matter how old you are. Bullying can be part of sexual harassment. It can be part of regular harassment. Bullying happens in the workplace. Bullying happens within families, as I said at the beginning of this video. If you're being bullied, you know someone who is being bullied, or you just want to know how you can help someone if the situation would ever arise, you can get help. StopBullying.gov has a great page, helps you with steps to take to resolve the situation so you understand what bullying is, what it isn't, and the things that you can do to help someone or help yourself. They actually list out separate problems and what you can do in those instances. The website I talked about prior to that, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, has a great website talking about what constitutes as abuse, how to get involved if you want to stop abuse. And it does have some great information, especially the domestic violence hotline that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can also chat online if you're not comfortable talking on the phone and you're safe enough to do so. Now, I realize that these things don't and won't automatically make the situation go away, and you won't stop being victimized immediately. But you can stop being a victim. You can help yourself. You can get started in the right direction. You can get connected with people who want nothing more than to help you. I hope you'll make that happen. You're worth it. I think it's also important to remember that even when bullying stops or abuse stops, and you're no longer being victimized regularly, some of that pain can linger and stick around. And just because you're no longer in an unsafe situation doesn't mean that you don't deserve help. Help can continue for you even when you've made yourself safe, even when you've started that help process. Counseling is available, normally at domestic violence agencies or shelters. Normally it's free, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to still be unsafe and in a harmful relationship or in a harmful situation. When something traumatic happens, it can stay with us. It can cause nightmares. It can help us lose focus. It can cause other problems, exacerbate an eating disorder, for example, or other mental health issues. It can deter us from starting new relationships, even if they look healthy and safe. It can affect us in a lot of ways, and you owe it to yourself to give yourself the best quality of life possible. Don't give up on yourself. You're worth it. You don't deserve to be hurt. You don't deserve to be victimized. No one does, no matter what you've done or who you are. Take care of yourself, stay safe, have a great week. I'll see you next time.